do Halacha is not considered a piece of the Arizal. I know what Halacha is. They combine double Rabbanon, so it is considered permissible. Or there are those who maintain that it really not, no matter what it is, take it out with one hand only without using two hands. It is considered not that permissible to use. In this case, the mikvah by somebody that's thinking it's very liberal to take out the knuckle from one hand. Another item that's very vital is, doesn't happen too often nowadays. Nowadays, people have so late they don't use shoelaces anymore. But in the days when they had shoes with shoelaces, or those who have them today, if a person in a hurry, get late when I go to shul, they want to make a fast bow, pull hard, and the string tears, shoelace tears. Make a double knot that will hold, you're allowed to make not temporarily, not both, to hold it. What happens if the shoelace tears, the worst problem it tears, well, let's say first, you pull on it, and the entire shoelace comes out of the hole into the shoe. Then, you are allowed to replace it, and put the shoelace back into the shoe. It's not considered a shoe without a shoelace, it's not considered a shoe. It means you're completing this shoe. Called Tikuney, perfecting this skill in the shoe. You want to put it back. But if the shoelace tears in such a manner where you cannot tie it, it's too short, you're not allowed to put a new shoelace in. You could replace this, put the same shoelace back, but not a new one. New ones have to come back, and therefore by the same token, the person who wears a strap, Shabbos, do not take out the old strap and put inside a new one. Those who have more than one strap. Do not do this on Shabbos. The strap comes out, and then you put it back in again. Do not take the strap off and put on shoes, straps on a pair of trousers on Shabbos. Same as shoelaces. These are the din of Shida Vanilo, which is referred to the Mala Mitzvahs of Shabbos B'Shleimus, Amon Yelasais, and Hayim, and Yachad Syrian Jewish, and Yachad Shabbos. Shabbos. There are certain kinds of Yisurim on Shabbos that a person could commit with just a word. You can actually break Halacha of Shabbos by saying a word. This is called Shus. Speak, and then I break the Shabbos. Shus, for example, a person tells a guy to do a Halacha on Shabbos, he's doing a Shus, which means an Isur de Rabbanan. One of the guys that you're not allowed to tell a guy to do Malachim doesn't together do it, get used to it, you have to do it yourself, actually. This is called a shvus, which is asur, the Rabbanan. And there is also a shvus, the shvus, which means the Rabbanan is later on another Rabbanan. Later of Zerah. Tell a guy to carry something in a kamelis. Kamelis means it's either a Reshus Rabban or a Reshus Yachid. So if the nice, you're allowed to carry that. But the Rabbanon gives her the kamelis not to carry the kamelis. Tell a guy to carry the kamelis, that's committing an Isa de Rabbanon, about an Isa de Rabbanon. That too is asur on Shabbos. So strict as the law of Shabbos. It's one case though where it's permissible, and then is the Menachem mitzvah, like a basic support item of mitzvah, mitzvah has to be done. You're not to use a shvus to shvus. You do a shvus to shvus, not to get a mitzvah done. So you need something done in the sake of a shul. That's not the mitzvah, the sake of the minyan. In fact, in the case of minyan, there's a special heter, which is controversial, but it is done. Ma'aser, the answer is yes. Permissible mutar l'chadfila, because this I say very affirmatively, because I've seen this myself, that in case, let's say, tell a guy to put a light on Shabbos, that's absolute shvus. But it's for the sake of a shul, not at home. A shul, a minyan, there are no lights. On Shabbos, you're allowed to tell a guy to turn on a light in shul. Dark in the shul, the lights went out. It is permissible for the sake of this called mitzvah de Rabban. Mitzvah de Rabban in the shul, you're allowed to tell a guy to turn on a light. Now, this din of shvus is so strict. It is so severe that if a guy puts on a light for a Jew in the Jew's house Friday night, he wants to eat, the guy puts the light on for him, the Jew is not allowed to use that room anymore. It becomes a place of Esau for the Jew. He's got to walk out of that room. And then use Halacha of that light. So serious is this din of a Malacha of Shus. Unless the guy put on a light for himself too. The guy wanted for himself the Halacha of the light. When it is done for the sake of the guy, then the Jew is allowed to use it. This was the old days when they needed a light to learn. Good people got up at 1 o'clock in the morning, got service on Friday night, learn. So they would call inside the goy, shaking the goy and say, Ivan Shadduch. But they would take like this. These Russian take. You want some whiskey and schnapps to drink? Yes. Dark. I would take a match, light a candle, light a lamp, and he would take it this way. He'd do the room ready, so he'd walk out satisfied. They'd have the light, they could sit down and drink because he put the light on purely for himself, for his own drink. It happened sometimes, of course, that Father used to tell me that they had some very disappointing moments when they give Ivan his drink, he'd take a big drink, then he'd blow out the candle and say, drink and walk out. But if the guy put the light on for himself, the Jew is allowed to use it. If it's not, the Jew can't use that light on. So they use Shabbos, which is definitely paying these mitzvahs for Shleimus, definitely Shabbos, Rosenfeld Bavly, see the coming of the Mashiach and Rav of Breslov. Definitely Shabbos, Nidin Yachin Tzah B'Shabbos. It is that it is forbidden for a person to bathe or to wash his entire body, and even the majority of his body, in hot water on Shabbos. Even if that water had been heated before Shabbos, no question about heating it on Shabbos, still, it is forbidden to wash his body even if it's one part at a time. First the hands and then wait a while and go further. That is forbidden. To wash just his hands and face, feet also in some places where they go barefoot, hands and face is permissible with hot water that was heated out of Shabbos, not that which was heated on Shabbos naturally. The washing of bathing in cold water, that would be permissible, would have been, let's say, taking a shower. Of course, we did not to the fact that there is a Zeda Sachanam, that forbids taking a shower, a cold shower on Shabbos. So, therefore, for Sfardim, we don't have this Zeda in the sense that it's permissible for them to take a cold shower on Shabbos. However, those who do must be very careful, anybody, not to squeeze out the hair. If the hair gets wet, put pressure on the hair, you have schita. First, was very careful not to squeeze out the hair on Shabbos. Also, those who go swimming in a lake, they go swimming in a lake cold, where the water is cold, let's say even though Sfardim, it is forbidden for a person to swim on Shabbos. Any kind of swimming on Shabbos is awesome. Same thing too, when a person goes to the mikveh. Of course, what permits going to the mikveh? In fact, we said that bathing in cold water is awesome. Also, getting in hot water, how come that the people go to the mikveh? The answer is that there are a lot of objections against those who go to the mikveh by some religious people, some misnagim, or against this idea. However, more recently, they have begun to see the light. They were zecher to see the light that mikveh is a mitzvah b'chlal with Frat. It's one of the takonas Ezra mikveh on Shabbos. Say that it's so great a mitzvah that this is not considered part of that gezeiras hachanam. It is permissible to go to mikveh even if the water is hot. It's against all the halachas we find in Shulchan. This minhag became so strong that you find an actual case, a living case, a minhag of halacha. The minhag says about leidin. When it says befeilish, it is also to bathe in hot water that was heated at Shabbos. Now we find even in some cases the water which was even heated on Shabbos, possibly, but that's wrong. But when the water is hot, or its heat is maintained, it is still permitted to go to the mikvah. And Shabbos is so great and so important. It is the mitzvah of mikvah, the high kiruv Shabbos. Same thing, so for a woman who has to go to the mikvah on Friday night, and it is mutter to go to the mikvah, even if she is an Ashkenaz woman, not a Sephardic. There, it is preferable to see to it that the water should not be hot. Because usual set circumstances, usual set of dinim, and we find that though the mikveh of a woman is much more important, much more chomer than the mikveh of a man, in this case though, the heter for a man to bathe in hot water on a mikveh is more prevalent than ever. It shows again the kedusha of mikveh for a man, how a person should be didactic in this mitzvah, spoke a lot about the chumras. And actually, Rav Nosson spoke about the Mesilas Nefesh, and the Arizal, we had stories about it. Which was to mikveh tara, mikveh Yisrael Hashem, true mikveh that we tie ourselves, and tzchus, we should be Torah, be kodesh, to be able to see with our eyes. Rabbi Nachman, to see if something Sheikh Hayami. Chilchai Shabbos, Dinei Chayla B'Shabbos. Whether the person is ill on Shabbos Kodesh, what is the din about this, medication or treatment, or kill Shabbos. Possible to empower Shabbos for the sake of a person who is sick. This depends upon the extent of the sickness. If there is no danger to the person, the sickness is a minor one, then of course the person gives empower Shabbos. There are special din attached to it. We're dealing with a case where there is a sakuna. An ill person where there is a danger actually of death. If he is not treated, he may die. This is not where it is positive. You don't treat a person if a person has a car accident and a car is lying on top of it. But he can go, he'll die for sure. You're allowed to move the car, do all kinds of halachas to save. But even where it's a question of suffix, if you don't know if the person will die, we don't give him this medicine, but it's possible he will. Even though it's a case of a suffix pikuach nefesh, suffix of danger to the person's life, it is permissible to save the Chalei Shabbos in order to save this person's life. The reason is that the Torah says, mitzvahs of the Torah are given for the sake of living with them. Hashem said, I give you this Torah to live with, not to die for. Except, of course, the three major dinim which have nothing to do with this. Zedek Kodesh explains, the neshama of a Jew is so holy that it's awesome to think of. The neshama of a Jew is actually holier than the Torah itself. Of course, the Avad Torah, the most important mitzvah of the entire Torah is mitzvah Shabbos. Mitzvah Shabbos is the holiest of all the mitzvahs. Shuffle, make it qualitative kula. The person's Machal Shabbos, and it's as though he is desecrating the holiday entire Torah. The Shabbos is equivalent to the entire Torah. Yet, the Vedic Kodesh says Shabbos is definitely removed because of the saving of the neshama, retaining the neshama in the body, to save a person's life. Shabbos is definitely. So we see that the neshama is even higher than the whole Torah portion. Easily to show proof that the neshama is greater. Nosson says, if that's the case, why can't you break the three laws? If the neshama is greater than the Torah, it's greater than all 613 mitzvahs in the Torah. Three of those are Avodah Zarah and Gilead Ayat Shechastam, where a Jew is supposed to die, he must die. How do they give it those three sins? Why then we say he must die? What happened to the Hashivas, the importance of the neshama? The answer is that the one who is even Avodah Zarah, Nosson says, that's not a neshama anymore. That's destroying the neshama. The contrary, he's not saving his life out of the earth. He's destroying his neshama by being Avodah Zarah, because he loses his identity as a Jew. Same thing too with Gilead Ayis. There too, he's Mechalel, not the Torah, but Mechalel the neshama. How the neshama goes to the neshama is totally unconditioned. This is a full of the neshama. And shlichas damim, murder, that is simply logical. Which says your neshama is better than the other person's neshama. Even if you are a tzadik and he's a Russia, how do you know which neshama is more valuable? How do you know if we can't do a showdown? Both of you were facing a firing squad or facing a drum, which one would be able to stand up erect and say, kill me, I will not surrender to my religion, my faith. In time of stress, who knows if your neshama is as good as his? You don't have to kill him. Therefore, this mitzvah too, a person should die rather than commit murder. That's why these three are an exception, but not as the rule of, in fact, the potato itself, being a schalel, overlooked, be put aside for the sake of saving a person's life, a Jew's life. This means then that the time when the person is ill, and there is a sakana, danger of his life being lost, we're allowed to do halal Shabbos, actually break the Shabbos. What if the person is very strict? The person himself who is ill is very religious, and he says, I don't want to have the Isra of Chilul Shabbos on my behalf. I don't want to break the Shabbos. I don't want anybody to break it for me. I would rather stand up and be a martyr for the Kedusha of Shabbos. I say that I have died for the sake of Kiddush Hashem, which means the Shabbos Kodesh, which is Kiddush Hashem. A person like that, who does that, is no hero. He is a fool when he is a Chassid Shaita. Chassid, very religious, but he's a Shaita, he's a fool. And he is a Rasha. Because if he is guilty of the very worst possible sin, a sin for which there is no tshuva. Every sin in the Torah, no matter what, he said, there's nothing in the world that can stand up against tshuva. There's nothing. Of all creation, nothing can stand against tshuva. A tshuva person could do tshuva for any sin that exists, including having done all the sins combined many times. Tshuva is strong. There's one item for which tshuva cannot be done, simply because it's impossible. That's suicide. The person commits suicide, there's no way to do tshuva anymore. That's the one sin which tshuva is technically impossible. The person who is that religious, the Chassid Shaita, says, I refuse to accept medication or help because I don't want to break the Shabbos. That person is guilty of murdering himself, guilty of suicide. About that person is the posek in the Torah where Hashem says, I shall seek to avenge your blood from you. If you have spilled your own blood, I will take revenge for it. Therefore, it becomes a major mitzvah, contrary now, it becomes a major mitzvah to break the Shabbos in order to save a person's life. Major mitzvah. Mitzvah, I told us the Moshe mitzvah is so great that one who hurries is Teshuva. He hurries to break the Shabbos. He hurries to get into a car to run. He hurries to cut, to tear, to write any kind of Isa, Chilul Shabbos. Rushes to do it. He gets a bigger mitzvah. It's called Teshuva. It's praise. Not only that, in case there's a sick person who needs medication, and they don't know exactly where to find it. The people go out and look for it, and they easily won. All 10 come back with this medicine. All 10 have broken the Shabbos. 9 of them have broken it in vain, because if one is necessary, all 10 get a special schar. The biggest mitzvah, it's all the Nefashos, though they were Chalash Shabbos in vain. 9. Of course, you have to use logic here. The student, if you know positively when you want to get the medicine, you stood it. The other time, not allowed to run out a kilo event, only when there is a possibility. You don't know which one will get there first. Then they're all allowed to. But these things are very nasty as logic. However, there should be very little logic used when there's a question of suffering. I just doubt whatsoever. In Torah's Moshe, all logic should be put aside, all hesitation put aside, the person should rush quickly. So we have Halacha too, which says that it's surely a much smaller Isa to tell a guy to break the Shabbos rather than have a Jew do it. What if you have a Jew and a good person? This person needs medication. There's no harm in telling a guy. just to break the Shabbos for nothing. Why do it? You have a chance to have a goy do the act. What should you do? The Ramah says that in a case like that, if you have a goy, surely it is better to have the goy do it. And he finishes with the word, this is the custom which is the law. This is the final word. You have a goy there to have the goy do it. The Taz, Rabbi Nachman, attacks this Ramah. All the later Aharon hold with the Taz in this case. Ramah is the most powerful of all posek. Ramah is the posek against the Mechaber. In this case, the Taz comes up and says that it is good for a person to rely on a goy. A goy is not reliable. Here's a question of Jewish life that's in imbalance. To place the Jewish life in the hands of this goy, that is definitely wrong. The question of pikuach nefesh, mitzvah for a Jew not to hesitate. Why? Simple reason. It's not a sign. Many times not a sign means that if somebody sees you do something which is legal, it looks like it's not legal. Doing something which looks like it's committing a sin. So, for instance, you walk into a place, to a store on Shabbos, tell the person something, meet me somewhere later on. People think you're going to buy it. It's an Easter, Chilul Shabbos because it's not a sign. Now, if that's the case, in other words, what does that mean? A person will get the wrong impression. Here, the Taz says, a person seeing this act, he doesn't know. It seems that the rabbis there are discussing it. They say, let the guy go get it. This person later on, a simple person, will have the same circumstance. He wouldn't know that the case was that a Jew and a guy. We'll have a kid that go out looking for a guy. Where do you find a guy to get him to do it? Meanwhile, the person may die. That's not as Irish as was in Egypt. The Taz says in a case like that, therefore, it is that if you have a Jew and a guy, let the Jew run first to do a faster job, will not mislead others for later. And the Taz adds to that, which the Ramah says, he says that's not the way that Mosik is doing. It's not the Mishnah's Chassidut. Not for the Mosik, it means not for the religious Jews. Very religious are not made that way. It's not made for them. It is that first of Pikuach Nefesh, Tzolos Nefoshes, above all, the Shabbos to be paid back. But a life should not be traded. You cannot retrieve a life. The person who breaks this Shabbos, the doubt, he broke it. Bad. If you save his life, next Shabbos he'll keep next Shabbos. Okay, next Shabbos, the following Shabbos, he'll have a lot of Shabbos to keep. But if you sacrifice his life for the sake of this Shabbos, so you made a profit, you kept this one Shabbos. All these subsequent Shabbos will be lost. Better than how one Shabbos now, to have him saved. You have a lot of other Shabbos plus an untold number of other mitzvahs too, and he'll be able to be kind of better. Therefore, the din is that Pikuach Nefesh is Derech Shabbos, and Suffolk Pikuach Nefesh is also Derech Shabbos. That's all in the case of Pikuach Nefesh. Also, the Hashivas of the Neshama on this journey. Circle to understand the Kedusha on the Neshama, even though we are not such tzadikim, far from it, still the Neshama is considered. That was the Shekhinah, comes to the Shekhinah Kedusha, which was able to retain it with Kedusha. To see with our eyes the coming of Mashiach the King, and its Mikash.
And where did you say the going?
Tochei Shabbos, Dinim Shabbos, Dine Chayle Sheyesh Bo Sakona. Din is that a person is sick, where his life is in danger, you are permitted to be Mechal Shabbos for him. How do we detect whether a person is sick to that extent? Even if an ordinary layman says, I recognize that sickness, I know that he is in danger, if there's no doctor, no experienced doctor there, who disproves him, and this person is to be believed, you'll not be Mechal Shabbos, and this person say so. If there is a dispute between doctors, one doctor says he is in danger, the second one says that there's no danger, or he says this kind of medicine will not help, we listen to a doctor who says that he is in danger because there's a suffix. The suffix sakona is enough to warrant being Mechal Shabbos. If the doctor says that he's not in danger, that the patient himself says that he's very ill, we believe the patient more than the doctor because the patient knows the heart feels its own pain more than an outsider, especially a doctor. If the doctor is one who's experienced, knowledgeable, even if he's not Jewish, then he is also believed as far as Hakuna is concerned. This, of course, is a moot question today. We mentioned it once the Prophetess Chavruta, bringing the fact that nowadays doctors, non-Jewish doctors, or even Jewish doctors, Mechal Shabbos, Kaifanim, will always say that the Yechel is in danger. Why? Because Mechal Shabbos, they want to show that they have the authority over Shabbos. It's very difficult to really believe a doctor today who says, yes, you may break the Shabbos to get him this medicine. Don't get him an aspirin because it's danger. Break the Shabbos for it. However, in this case, a person must use his own judgment because you cannot be Mekil and you can't be Machmir in Shabbos. Machmir in Shabbos, Hilchos Shabbos, to be strict about the laws of Shabbos, but Mekil in the life of a person. So even though the doctor himself is suspect, as are all doctors, very suspect, still, if there's any slight chance that the doctor is telling the truth, the patient is in danger, or if there's simply a doubt, the person himself knows nothing about it, then of course he must be Mechal Shabbos. Whenever there's a suffix, it's a kudas nefashos, any kind, there's a din of Mechal Shabbos for the sake of the patient. Zecher to the truth, the emes, Zecher to B'riyas Hanefesh, B'riyas Haguf, Teshuva Shlema, Gula Shlema, Shabbos, Dinei, Chayla, Shabbos. Dinei, one of Shabbos. Chayla, Sheshbei Sakona, he said, well, there was a danger to the allowing Mechal Shabbos for him. Which sickness is considered Sakona? The sickness that's from the inside the mouth into the interior of the body. Any internal organ that is affected, that is diseased, there's a danger, internal organ, it is considered a Chol Sheshbei Sakona. Inside the mouth means from the gums inside, which means that what is known as gingivitis, where the gums bleed, as a shown, that is considered a serious illness, enough to warrant being Mechal Shabbos. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a person may ride the car and travel and do all these regular malachos. It does mean at least that whereas regular sickness, normal sickness, a person cannot use medicine on Shabbos unless he's bedridden. In this case, even though a person can walk around, he's not bedridden at all, he still is permitted to use a kind of medication that's necessary for gingivitis. For example, gentian violet, medicine like that, which is definitely medicine, which would be forbidden otherwise. So you can't use iodine, for example, on Shabbos if it's a regular exterior wound, unless it's on the back of the hand, which is a special kind of a wound. There you're allowed to use medication. But we see that from the inside of the mouth, the gums inside, that is considered a Chedesh Yeshbei Sakona. If, in the case of one where there is a Sakona, the doctors say that it's necessary to feed the sick person meat, you don't have a choice. There is no ready meat to be eaten except tray for meat. So the question of either feeding this sick person, the patient, tray for meat, or to shecht, to kill an animal or a chicken, shecht on Shabbos, and then to give it to them. Which should be done? Is it better to avoid the additional chilul Shabbos, like shchita and cooking, if you already have ready-made meat, since he is sick anyhow, he's allowed to eat, tray for food, because you need to be Mechal Shabbos for him. And then says it is better to shecht and cook, not because you're not allowed to eat and tray for meat, but because we are afraid that it could do him more harm than good. The person, even when he's sick, if he's trained, brought up, he's dedicated all his life to the idea that treifa meat is abhorrent, it's repulsive, then it could do him much more harm than good. Should be for a second. Unless you have a case where it's a cook who doesn't know the difference, a person who's not aware of what this kind of meat is, then not aware it doesn't mean that you're going to fool him. Not only means that the person's mentally affected or it makes no difference to him. Then you are allowed to feed him, it's better to feed him the treifa meat and not the shech, cook for his sake. If, in a case where it was necessary to cook for this patient, you cooked a pot full of meat, there's a lot left over, is a healthy person allowed to eat from this meat that was cooked on Shabbos? Ordinarily, if anything is cooked on Shabbos, it becomes unfit. You don't have to eat on a chulin, you don't be shegeg, you have to wait till after Shabbos is over, it was amazing. It's a question of whether it's permissible afterwards for anybody, at least for the person himself, he can never eat from that meat. In this case where it's done deliberately, but with permission, it allows you to cook for the sick person. Then it then says that for a body, for a healthy person, outsider, the person's family, for example, they are not allowed to eat this on Shabbos. But they are allowed to eat this after Shabbos is over, if it was cooked by a Jew. Only if this meat was cooked by a Jew, then they are allowed to eat it after Shabbos is over, because there was nothing wrong in the act of cooking. It was permissible if it cooked. It was cooked by a goy. It's not a question of being wrong or not. It's the same as you're allowed to cook, let's say, treifa meat for this sick person. It doesn't make that treifa meat kosher for a healthy person. The same thing, the cooking of a goy is automatically treif. So even after Shabbos is over, this meat remains unkosher and unfit for a healthy person. But for the patient who is sick, all these things are permissible. To be well, to be healthy, to retain the mitzvahs, Shabbos and all mitzvahs, sitting in Yerushalmi and Chayla. Shabbos, Dinei Chayla. They did which is very pertinent to most here. We hope for the rest of you soon. Then of a woman who has to give birth on Shabbos. I'm not saying you are that party, but it affects you. If a man's wife has to give birth on Shabbos, then of course it requires many malachos, a lot of malachos. Aside from just traveling to the hospital, there's a lot of things that are done there, all types of malachos. This is considered the same as surgery, which of course is yesh by sakona. Everything is permissible to be done. You don't do side items which are not necessary. Man takes his wife to the hospital, doesn't mean he's allowed to smoke there, that's for sure. Whatever is necessary for the sake of the illness is permissible, the same as any other chayla sheyesh by sakona. As of when does this have to begin? It doesn't start from the time that she begins to complain about pains. Labor pains, there can be false labor pains, there can be lengthy labor pains which do not require any kind of malacha, any kind of service. Nothing can help at that time. The actual time is when either the sign of dam or blood or water breaks. Then when those symptoms are very clear, then it is considered permissible to do all the work. Now, whatever necessary said may be done for her. As far as the one problem that's brought us to it, the husband is allowed to ride in a car together with his wife. There's nothing that this can do for the child. There's nothing this can do for the wife. It's not going to aid in her giving birth. But because it does help in her peace of mind, therefore there are days, in the explanation of Moshe Feinstein writes that if the wife insists, if she is that nervous that she needs the peace of mind of having a husband present with her, is allowed to ride along in a car. The driving should be avoided naturally, but to ride in the same car It is permissible to go with her. Beyond that, there is nothing more to be done that should be done. After the childbirth, the first 3 days, she's still considered yesh bo sakona. So if necessary, when he probably goes up, he's allowed to have Chilul Shabbos done for her. The first 3 days, again, the shaila is brought whether that is item-based choice. 3 days means 72 hours in succession. He gave birth, let's say, at 3 a.m. Does it end 3 days later at 3 a.m.? Or is it 3 days, that day is the first day, the third day is, it could be, say, 60 hours. We say that way. So the chavruta says if necessary, you can figure this as bismas. If necessary, there's no Meko, have what to rely on. They are allowed to. And this, of course, applies to Yom Kippur. The first 3 days, Yom Kippur, not required to, she should not fast. The elders should not fast it. The third day to the 7th day, through the 7th day after birth, and then you are allowed to be Mechal Shabbos only if she claims that she needs it. She says definitely she needs it, but she feels that badly she must have something done for her. Mechal Shabbos is allowed. The 7th day through the 30th day, this is the same as any other normally sick person who does not have any sakuna attached to a sickness, which means that certain things are permissible and most are not. We'll get to those details later on. Which means to see simchas by Jews b'chlal of that, not the simchas kolius and the Yosher and the Shabbos dinei chayla. And then one who was ill on Shabbos. The person is ill, but not seriously. He has a slight ailment, but he's well enough. He has a headache or a stomach ache or any kind like that, but he's well enough to walk around, not to be bedridden. And on Shabbos, any kind of a medicine, cure, any kind is forbidden. Even with no halacha attached, taking a pill, no work attached to it. Any kind of medicine whatsoever is forbidden on Shabbos. Of course, the Gezedas Chachamim, that if you're allowed to take a medicine, if you might, you're allowed to take it, you might go so far as to grind up the herbs to have a medicine necessary. Of course, a night Gzeda, therefore, any medicine is forbidden. Even a person will swear he won't grind it, he does not grind it, it makes no difference. Of course, a night Gzeda, medicine becomes forbidden. However, that Gzeda is said only where it's shayach, possible that this would bring about the grinding up medicine. Whatever something has nothing to do with medicine at all. For example, a person who receives a blow in the forehead, for example, his forehead swells up. In order to lower the swelling, even take a flat piece of metal, flat knife, and put pressure on the swelling will go down. Here there's no medicine being used, there's no zeta, that you allow the knife pressure to be used to grind up medicine. In this case, it's permissible on Shabbos to use that, even though this is a cure, curing the swelling. Still, because there's no possibility of zeta shikasana. Or let's say a person has a stomach ache, he wants to use a hot water bottle. Here too, there's no medicine involved, no medication whatsoever, so it's permissible to use that hot water bottle. But wherever there is a question of shikasana, medication or medicine of any kind, or a doctor of any kind, there is this gzeda. The kind of gzeda is moved, not effect, is one of two cases. Either where the person becomes bedridden, is forced to lie in bed, that ill he cannot walk around, then the person is allowed to take medicine where there's no malacha involved. Just taking a pill. There's no act, there's no grinding, there's no writing, there's no electricity of any kind. So the use of medicine is allowed if a person is bedridden, or if, and though he can walk, but it's not just the head and the stomach, the whole body feels sick. He honestly feels sick from head to foot. His toes are tingling, his head is ringing, then he's allowed to take the pill even though he's careless enough to be walking around at a time like that. It does not affect his being able to go out and walk, just that his whole body feels sick. He's allowed to then take medication, also without any kind of a malacha involved. These are the basic beginning rules of Chilul Shabbos, which is zeichet to B'niyas HaNefesh HaGuf. The Yevdei Hashem Ibis, the Yechad Esig, the B'niyas, which is in the Pesach. Chilul Shabbos B'nei Chilul. Chilul Shabbos Sakana, which means that he is the extent where he walks around, or the extent where even if he's lying in bed only one Eva hurts. That's the fellowship of Sakana, and you're allowed to give him medication. One of the two things, either he is completely in pain from head to foot, suffering head to foot, or else he's lying in bed, even with only one organ. That's a fellowship of Sakana, where you're allowed to give him medication. He has got one of those, either one of those two, but he can use no medication at all. Now, in case a person has a wound where there's no sakuna at all to it, as we said, you cannot use any medication at all. So you cannot put on, say, iodine for a cut of a wound, unless there is a danger of infection. But, say, a wound which was made the day before, which now has no further danger of infection. So it's a question of putting on a salve. Of course, to smear a salve on it is usher even if the person is lying in bed, because that's an avolacha. Smearing is an avolacha. It's a mareach. But to take a piece of cord, a piece of gauze, which already has a medication on it, and put it on this wound, that is usher on Shabbos. You're not allowed to put a medication on a wound. If the medication, the bandage was put on before Shabbos started, he's allowed to wear this medication on Shabbos since it was done before. But if it was put on, it cannot be put on Shabbos itself. The bandage fell off during Shabbos, it cannot be replaced again. If it fell on a table close by, onto the floor, then it may be. But the putting on of any kind of a bandage with medicine is usher. A bandage without medicine, place a piece of gauze, a bandage around a wound in order to save the wound from being scratched. And any kind of an outside abrasion, that is permissible on Shabbos. The person get a piece of sliver in his skin, under the skin, and in order to take it out, it requires needlework. It's allowed to use a needle to take out the sliver, even though he may be tearing the skin. But you must be very careful not to cause any bleeding. Causing bleeding itself is an avolacha. Of course, it's gufa, but still, halacha is also the rabbanon. So you got to be careful not to cause any bleeding at all. Taking it out, if you cannot, then the best thing is to wait until it's on Shabbos. As he once said in relation to this, a person cannot do this to his father. A person's father has a sliver under the skin, and the question is whether he can remove that sliver. There the danger is so great because if he does cause bleeding or any kind of a wound, he's high at Misa for it. Even though there is no Talmud is different. Unless, of course, the father is in pain, and literally nobody else will do it, then he must do it with the utmost caution, very grave, serious danger. And if possible, best advice is to avoid it. Get someone else at all costs to do it for him. To be B'niyim Shleiman and Tachlis, Nefesh and Guf, Mikayim, it says Shabbos Kodesh, thereby be zeichet to see the house Moshe. Chag HaShavuos. Here the Shavuos, first, most important is the fact that we have counted Baruch Hashem 49 days. Completed 49 days counting days of the Shavuos. So 49 days are not up until today's finished. Since the pasuk says Sheva Shabbos is to be raised to here, the 7 weeks should be complete, solid. Then first you have the 50th degree complete to get to the Shavuos. Therefore it is a din. Tonight we have the Davar Mara after it is definitely dark after the day is definitely completely finished. So you know that the word humus is literally followed out, carried out. Humus must be 100% complete 49 days. Tonight we stay up all night. Tomorrow morning, the thing is that only tomorrow morning, and not any other deal. Only tomorrow morning we have milkets, dairy. All other times, since it is negative, simcha l'basa, therefore you must have fleshings, all the other 3 meals. Right? Tomorrow night, Tuesday morning, you must be a fleshing meal. You must be misguided. One meal is minig. That's a minig is milkets. That is the meal after staying up all night. First meal tomorrow morning. For that there are a number of reasons. One of the reasons given at offering morning, of course, it's just as we have on Pesach. We have 2 items, Zoya and Zeya. Zeya, like memory of the 2 korbanos, Pesach and Hagiga. So too do we have on Shavuos, which is tied together with Pesach, moving to the Yemen. So we also have 2 items. 2 means that there must be 2 separate items, separated by a possible tie. That's fleshings, regular meal. The milkets also 2 separate items. The essence numerous, the fact that they have to have 2 separate pieces, 2 separate challahs for these 2 meals. You don't use the same challah, flesh and milkets. So you can eat 2 different challahs. This is an evidence in the fact that we call Meshulas is 2 challahs. Shtei halacha for the covenant Meshulas. One is a lachmei peidah, which comes chametz rather than matzah we had on Pesach. Chametz, of course, means das. Matzah actually means das, we've learned many times. Chametz, in this case, more discussion in the halachas. The reason we have risen to the higher degree of das, therefore we are able to take chametz as a medicinal person. These, when he's sick, when he's better, he can take already regular food. It's not as powerful as medicine, but easily when he's dead. He has already das without the medicine. So they lachmei peidah 2 of them present the 2 challahs are necessary for 2 different meals. There's one reason. Later, which says the reason is that it's 7 weeks since the Aharon of Bida, Bida, then Shavuos we have the Tarek, Dam Nekar, Nasachola. What happens? Where does the milk come from? First, comes from that dam. Instead of the dam coming out, the best. Instead, the dam becomes changed to hollow milk. That's why we have, after the relation, the wedding, the Halacha, 7 weeks of preparation, with the 7th kid. And we have a big red moon, and the kuppah, and the dam is changed to hollow, which means the kiruv are inside. Down the red is hollow is the whiteness. People is the Chassidut. If in the Shuais, the time when the Chassidut comes down means that Hashem himself comes down to us. Shua Elai, Shua Lechem. We can't hear Hashem giving the 49 days to repay. 50th, Yedid Hashem al Hasinai. Hashem himself came down on Hasinai. And another reason, another time is that the biggest time that the Jews on Har Sinai were so occupied all the time waiting, saying they received the Torah, there's no time to prepare a complete meal. The meat was by a shechting, stripping the animal, taking off the chalavim, taking out the fat of the animal, it's not kosher, different parts, salting, cooking, and so forth. They came back from Har Sinai, they were very hungry, they had no time to go through all these different steps, preparations, and they ate what was handy, which was milk. That's why, at that time, the morning, after, not the sleep, not the later, that morning meal is milk. We have milk with that. Another reason given to is that we show we are different. We have received Torah because we are different than Malachim. Malachim came to Avraham. He says they ate meat and milk, which is one of the reasons that it's given to them. Initially, they came to have to eat Torah. They said it belongs to us. He said it doesn't belong to you because you failed. You said Malachim down at Avraham. They ate milk and meat. We abide by that mitzvah, and we have milk first. That's why we come back to the morning davening. We first meal milk, then afterward we have the ways that we have. Should we go to warn that those who eat hot cheese, that meal, be careful. At this point in this meeting, there are some who have milk and their meat right away. They have sort of a particular pause, either milk, meat, dairy meal, which doesn't fill them. They climb, they bench, and they wash again for brushing. So the warns that in case they have hot cheese, be careful not to eat for 6 hours. Because hot cheese is definitely a wait of 6 hours, which still is an item which is somehow not stressed enough. There are some people in a very false impression that it's otherwise. It's a person that the period of waiting 6 hours, the other says, on this piece, which we're bringing to the Chassidut, and also milk and then meat, finished. More about the hard cheese, you wait for the necessarily required period of 6 hours. On the first day of Shavuos, just before we lay the Torah, we sing the Akdomus. Akdomus Tefillah L'Shari Yeshusa, very special recognition, words that contain Shevach, praise of Hashem, thinking about the future of Mashiach coming. Miracles will take place then. This Akdomus, what Arizal said, is one of the most important melodies out, and the person should stand, listen to it, the end of the Bachat. He was feeling, knowing how holiness, big it is in heaven. And it also, Jews would only know what they possess, what happens to us from us. And we can appreciate what a treasure this is. You know it's great, but you can actually see that really its greatness. Happy we should be, fortunate possessing this treasure of God's name. On the second day, we read the story of Rus. Story of Rus, because this was 2 reasons. One, not Torah was made for anybody who wants to be Torah. Which means that Hashem offered the Torah to all nations. Whoever wanted it could have gotten it. Hashem offered it to the Jews, and they accepted it, they got it. Now, subsequently, it must be all right that at least the Torah was free. But he asked whoever wanted it to take it. This great treasure, no questions asked, you want this multi-billion-dollar value, spiritual value, diamonds, take it. It was offered, the Jews took it. Now, is the Torah still available? Free to anybody who wants it. Torah from Menachem Mendel Schneerson. Torah in the closet, it's on the table, it's for them. Pick it up and learn. Every word is a gem. Pick it up and learn. You who own it. You means the Jew. But the Goy today come and say, I want the Torah also. I come to Hashem and say, you need the Torah. The answer is, I could have given you the Torah when I had it. Hashem says, I've given it away. If you want the Torah, you cannot come directly to Hashem again. It's impossible. You've got to come to the Jews. Goy cannot go to Hashem and say, give me the Torah, I'll follow it, it's good, I'll obey every law. Nothing is impossible. In fact, if he does it, he gets discipled. Because it's called adultery. The Torah is the pride of the Jews. The adultery. The Nosson, he was Yaakov. My Nosson, he R Nosson. Torah is engaged in power of the Jews, and therefore no joy can take it. If you want the Torah, you must come to this present moment. Come to the Jews, there you can have the Torah. That's your only way of getting it. This answers a very powerful passion. Passion that you can ask. Why do you have to go to the tzadik? Stop the person. You can thank the person W. Hashem is available at all times. The light is called He's everywhere. Why can't I do this? Turn to Hashem and say, Hashem, you help me. Why go to a little person? The answer is, same thing. Hashem said, everyone is equal to me. Everyone. Before the tzadik came. Once the tzadik said that he was there, he can come to Hashem. Plus, through the tzadik to say, once the tzadik is there, the only way, only means to come to Hashem is through the agent. Moshe Rabbeinu said that Tikuney Zohar Moshe. This is the Torah to say that he was the agent of Hashem. Hashem has agents now, little men, tzadik you cannot buy directly. You must go through the tzadik try to avoid this little one. You'll never get anywhere. Shiva will be rejected. The title will not be of value. You've got to go through the particular army tzadik It itself, today, is in the hands of the Jews. You cannot get it directly. Anus was the gears, right sequel of the party. Later was made true for everyone, the whole world. But it's made for Jews directly, so you could get the title also through conversion. Especially we read it on Shavuot, because this is the north side of the Halacha was born through that union of Boyaz and Nus. And we have the celebration of the Geula of Halacha on Shavuot, which results to a true conscious, esteemed, the Torah, thereby the Hashem, and thereby the blessed to see becoming the Mashiach kiruv, Minyan Beis Hamikdash, and the Rabbanis, Lachman Teshuva, the Arizal, Minyan Beis Hamikdash, the Tikuney, the Simcha Torah, the entire part of the Shabbos. A person has a wound, not allowed to squeeze out the wound because to squeeze out any blood cause bleeding is a major halacha, a major sin on Shabbos. If it is a cut, an open wound, which is bleeding, you cannot put a bandage on it, a cloth on it, that is, wrap a towel or a napkin or a handkerchief, because he is coloring. That's coloring on Shabbos. If the cloth is red, and that's an avalacha, that's the main coloring it causes to darken the color itself. Coloring is an avalacha on Shabbos. So you cannot put on a cloth on Shabbos, but then you should put it under the water, let the water run. That way, it hopes to stop the bleeding. In most cases, of course, the water encourages bleeding. So that the only way to deal with that is to take something which is not a cloth, something which is to be thrown out, like tissues, and that may be colored. That's not considered colored because that's considered dirty. Dirty the tissues by making them red, you throw it out. That is permissible. However, it says that the Chassidut, the person does not have to bleed to death. He has no tissue, so he has a cloth or a towel. Just like he may, that means there's no other choice, he may put a handkerchief, a napkin on a bleeding wound, even though he is coloring. Because that too, we say that though it's a cloth, it still is considered malachlech rather than tzaveya. He's dirtying it rather than coloring it. The Isur on Shabbos is to color something, not to dirty anything. Therefore, even though it is a cloth and not a tissue, even though it's not being thrown out, still it's being dirty and it is permissible. This is a very important halacha which should be publicized. Not too many are aware of it, especially if a person has a nosebleed and they don't use tissue, they use cloth. As a shalom, then surely it is permissible to use a cloth, except of course that a red cloth should be avoided at all costs, because a red cloth is not shot to say it's dirty. Though some people's blood is not that clean. Still, it is considered coloring if it's red, and not so if it's a white cloth. In case of a bris on Shabbos, bris, which we used to cut to bleed, that's ordinarily 100% avalacha. It was Shabbos, but by bris, the Torah itself tells us that a person is permitted to, is mechuyev to, in Chal Shabbos or Yontif or Yom Kippur or Yom Chassidus b'Yom by a bris. So this is the mitzvah of Shabbos. So important, so vital is a bris. However, this is only a bris money, which means